We'll start the recording and get started today. I appreciate you all joining. Today we're going to talk a little bit about the power of digital transformation in today's warehouse with Wisys and SAP Business One. We're going to go through some behind the scenes, some new innovations, and we'll talk about some of the technical aspects of making your warehouse a digital warehouse. So today's agenda, obviously, my name is Aaron Armandaris. I am a sales consultant, senior sales consultant here at Wisys in the SAP division, and I've been working here just a little over 6 years now. So I'm helping customers succeed in the warehouse and helping them guide them through their journey in the warehouse today. So I appreciate you. I know most of you now, but if not, I'm sure we'll be speaking shortly. And we're going to be talking about what digital transformation means. We're going to reference that with some innovations, recent innovations with Wisys and how that relates to digitizing and becoming a more enhanced, better warehouse. And we're going to talk about Android. We'll be talking about some printing. We'll look at some devices as well. So we'll really explore some of those system requirements that you may not have been familiar with or may not know starting out your journey. And then we'll talk about some shipping, some new product, our agility shipping product integration, as well as our secret sauce, our design tools. We'll touch on that a little bit in this session, and we'll take some questions and answer as well. But first thing I'd like to do is I'd like to actually a quick poll right before we get started. You know, let's spice this up. Let's see what people are here for. And I'd like to know where you are in your warehouse journey today, just from the start. If you guys could let me know that, I would appreciate a quick answer, and then we'll share the results with you. Let me know where you're at in your phases. I know I have partners here working with us. I have new customers. Let me know where you're at in your journey. Give it a couple seconds for you guys to select. Okay. Give it about 10 more seconds. I appreciate the response. All right. So let's see if we could share those results. 100% of people said looking for ways to improve, and that's very important. I think everybody kind of understands or mostly knows what WMS is and how Wisys can help you, but they're looking for those secret things or those things that are unknown of how they can improve. So I appreciate the response. We'll have another poll later at the conclusion, but let's get going here. So the benefits of a digital warehouse, that's why we're here today. You know, what are we looking for? Typically, most of our customers or prospects are coming from a paper-based warehouse. They are inefficient. They are trying to, again, find ways to improve. Many ways you could do that. You know, we bring the digital warehouse to life by introducing technology, and we bring that technology using a WMS like Wisys and integrate it with the ERP, specifically SAP Business One. But here are some of the things we're trying to do. We're going to eliminate those errors, improve accuracy, give you better visibility and velocity into all things in the warehouse by doing transactions at the first touch point. We're going to maximize our efficiencies and our return on investment. Ultimately, that's what's most important to our customers and to you, is to see a return on investment. Typically, I like to show a standard warehouse and what Wisys does, and what we're introducing today and digitizing the warehouse and becoming a digital warehouse. Really what we mean is becoming a current, up-to-date 2024 operation. We're introducing technology that you may or may not know, but we're introducing technology to do real-time transactions in the warehouse when things happen. So as you see through my example here, and this is a typical warehouse where people typically were doing things with pen and paper in the front office. They were pushing paper around. They were going down to the warehouse floor. They were checking stock items. They're missing things, right? Being very manual. But we're going to use Android devices with a wireless network to move those actions out to the warehouse at the first touch point. So where the transaction's happening, where the traditional paper movement is done with a pick list or a packing list, those are all going to be done using handheld computer devices using Wi-Fi, right? So that's how we're changing what you're doing today to becoming a more digital warehouse. And the real question I ask you guys is, are you really ready for change? This is the answer. This is what we're jumping into the 21st century of doing things a new way. Is your team ready for that? Well, what I really like to talk about is, what do I need to prepare? What do I need to expect when trying to change from a paper-based ERP only solution into a true WMS like Wisys, a real-time integrated solution? First off, I'd like to mention, and it's very important to me and us, is that we're a certified third-party application for SAP Business One, as well as Macola. But SAP Business One, we are certified in both HANA and SQL. It's very important because this means that we are not taking any shortcuts into working with the product. We are directly integrated into SAP. We are certifying each one of those transactions with SAP Business One the way that they intended it to work, standard, out of the box, native. So you know you're getting a certified product when choosing Wisys. Again, all part of that digital transformation, having a third party that's integrated, having a solution that is certified by the actual ERP product is great. Some of the things I'd like to introduce today is our technology. And it's a newer innovation for Wisys, and it's pretty exclusive, is that we are using Android technology with our handhelds. And I want to show you today, I'm going to be using a handheld device, just like you're seeing here. And we're going to show you that in an emulator on the screen. But this is an Android-based device that runs Wisys with an Android APK. So as you can see, some of the things that we're taking advantage now is the actual device itself, which we couldn't do before using an RDP solution, but we're able to use cellular devices with Wisys. We're also easily still able to take those Wi-Fi capability as well. Being the fact that we're using cellular, we can leave the four walls of our warehouse. We can now do applications that do delivery service work on site with cellular communications and take Wisys wherever you go. That is a new feature, and we can even take the geolocation from the positioning of your cellular device using the geo services within your Android. So if it's an Android tablet, like I have here today, or even my Android cell phone, Wisys applications can be run within the Android base. So typically I like to talk about those devices, and we'll get to that shortly. We can take advantage of those devices. We can take pictures. We can require signatures. Being that it's no longer an RDP solution, it actually can run faster and more efficiently using our Android APK, sending less information over the internet, less connection requirements there for the application to run. So you'll see improvements in speed and efficiency there as well. Easy to install and deploy, just like your Candy Crush game or your Google Chrome or your Gmail account. It can be installed very easily with a Wisys representative or your partner, and that can be installed right on your handheld. And now you can fully take advantage of that device and the items that are on that. Some of the handhelds, and people ask me these questions all the time. This is pretty important. And Aaron, what type of devices would you use? Well, in a warehouse situation, going to a digital warehouse, using new technology, there are a lot of questions that people ask me about handheld devices. And again, typically any Android device will work for you. Here are 3 popular devices with Wisys customers that we have seen people take advantage of. The traditional Zebra MC9300, it's the Cadillac of products. This has pistol grip, ruggedized, long-range scanning, even available for cold storage, different applications in a warehouse. But this is your traditional main warehouse, most popular device. Today, people are getting into the popular, I want a handheld style PDA, cell phone style scanner, but with the same capabilities as the MC9300. The Zebra TC53 is a very good option, including camera, including signature, and also cellular capabilities. And then the Zebra ET40, which is a ruggedized, thin tablet. So again, people are asking me, and they're discovering ways that that Wisys can help them in their warehouse. Devices are one of the main components that people come to me and want to have that consideration. We work with a partner. Barcodes has been nice enough to join us today on this webinar, and we together can help you answer any of your handheld needs for your warehouse going forward. One of the things I talked about earlier was RDP, is the older classic style format for connecting Wisys in our classic edition, our Agility Mobile. Currently with Agility 360 and our Android application, we now connect using an IIS server. So you'll need to deploy and spin up a server, can be virtual or a standard server with internet information services on it, a web deploy server with a secured IP address, and that gives our handhelds the availability to connect to them remotely from the internet, from outside the four walls using a secured IP address. So a new style. One of the benefits is that you do not have to have Microsoft RDP licensing. This is a direct connection to the DI API through an IIS server. So just to give you guys a little background, I will be delivering our system requirements with this PowerPoint presentation and the recording following. So thank you. So one of the other things that required, and we're talking about handheld devices, well, what are you doing with them? Well, in an efficient warehouse, we're scanning barcodes. We are scanning locations, we are scanning bins, we are scanning items using barcode scanning. So there will be some barcode requirements with Wisys if you want to have a highly efficient, validated system. Wisys has, and we have for the last few years, have had a barcode solution integrated into our product, and I'm going to show that. But we can talk about on an individual basis how barcoding and what barcoding solutions are good for you. We're also going to talk about printing. People ask me quite often, what printers do I need? Well, if you're going to be printing labels and documents, there's many different types of printers you need. You're seeing here we have an industrial strength printer, size printer at the top, all the way to a personal desktop printer, and that's what I'm going to be using today, is a desktop printer. But customers even inquire about a mobile hip printer, where I can keep that printer for those labels right on my hip and print them as I'm picking, packing, and shipping. And we'll talk a little bit about that as well. A recent new innovation, I'm sure a lot of you have seen it, but those of you that are exploring Wisys for the first time, our Agility shipping product has now integrated small package shipping of UPS, FedEx, and USPS into Wisys directly into SAP Business One without a third-party product. So it's a request that many of our partners and customers have made. Less third-party products, the better, and Wisys has created a third shipping solution integrated with Wisys and SAP Business One. And again, we can do all these things on a desktop application. Our shipping happens on our desktop as well as a handheld or a tablet to create those efficiencies, the speed, and the return on investment you're looking in a digitized warehouse. And last but not least, anything you see today in the demonstration that I'm going to show you in the process flow can be modified with our design tools. And creating that digitized environment, we understand that each company has different needs. Everybody does something different. Every partner has different needs when it comes to a solution, right? So with our solution built into it, we deliver our tool set, which allows you to modify Wisys without programming, without development, working with a Wisys consultant, your partner, to be able to modify our solution to be able to change processes the way you need them. Obviously, what we want to focus is on the out-of-the-box solution, being able to utilize Wisys right away, getting up to speed with standard processes, and then the ability to tailor those applications later on as you grow as a Wisys customer. So let's take a look at some of Wisys. And what I'd like to show you today is I want to show you a buy it, stock it, ship it. I want to use some of those innovations that Wisys has shown you throughout the years, or even through this demonstration, through this PowerPoint, some of the innovations that we've recently accomplished and things that you may not know are happening. And remember I said Wisys connects via an IIS, and I'm going to actually relaunch my application here. Let me pull that back up. I'm actually going to shut my screen off so we can focus on the actions at hand and not myself. And I'm going to actually bring up my emulator. And this is an emulator of a Zebra MC9300. This is exactly how I'd be using a hand. And today I'm going to accomplish transactions within Wisys and SAP Business One using a barcode scanning device. So those labels that we're printing out with printers, the handheld devices that we just saw, I'm going to be using those to do our digitized process today in the warehouse. So let's close out of this real quick. I'm going to reopen this, but this, just like any of your applications on your Android phone, you know, you're going to have your maps, you're going to have your Google Chrome, but we also have our Agility 360 Android APK, which runs natively on the device, right? So I'm just going to open that app just like any other app, and we can download this app from our website in coordination with your consultant, in coordination with your Wisys installer. Having this application installed can be deployed very quickly and easily. If you notice at the bottom here, I have a secured IP address that I'm connecting to. Now today I'm just using a VM virtual machine, and this is connecting locally to my computer. But imagine you being in Western Canada and your server is in Germany, or if you're in California and another warehouse in Florida, you guys are all connecting to that same IP address using what's called an IIS server. And again, we can pass these prerequisites along with you and our system requirements so you can see that as you're implementing the product. All right, so we are going to use our login here for our SAP indirect user. Now, Wisys requires a SAP license to authorize the application to log in and work, right? So you will need a type of SAP license, and most warehouse workers today use an indirect user. It's a less expensive license, but allows them access into SAP. And they're going to have a Wisys user as well, which defines the user's roles and responsibilities. But today I'm going to use my manager login, and I'm going to log into Agility 360. Now, typically, most people will only see the applications or the forms that they're responsible for in their job duties. And that's one of the benefits of Wisys. We're able to really secure and tie down the things that that employee or that warehouse worker is able to see. Again, taking it away from the paper-based system of passing around purchase orders, we're actually going to take you through the process of receiving, and again, show you some of those innovations of the Android application that we have. So first, I'd like to actually relate that to SAP and bring up a purchase order that we have available here. And I have a purchase order here, 1414. It has a few items on it, and these are just example items, but there's some laundry detergent. They are some toothpaste and some cleanser, right? Some 3 different items that we have. And these items are managed by SAP and the item masters, all the units of measure, the item groups, the barcodes. This is the beauty of an integrated solution. So the things that you were doing paper-based in your ERP solution today can easily be transitioned to using Wisys because we're integrated into the handheld application, right? So there's no reason to re-implement your bin structure, which is available in SAP, your items, your item master, your units of measure, your purchasing data, and your inventory history. Wisys is going to harness that with technology, with our Android application, to be able to complete those transactions in real time. So I do have a purchase order, and let's go back to that. We'll leave the item master and the purchase order 414. Now I may have a receiver sheet. I may have a list that's given to me of purchase orders here, but I'm actually going to go into the application. I'm going to go into my goods receipt PO application, and you'll see that here. Now again, I'm exposing all our applications today for this demonstration, but I'm really only going to see the applications that I'm responsible for. So here's our goods receipt PO. It might take a second to load up because we just opened the application, but you see here I have the first form, the first field is our purchase order number here. And that has a blue highlighted field. That's our focus field. That's where we're going to input our information. This is where we're going to do that validation against SAP Business One today, right? We're going to make sure that this is an available purchase order to receive against. I can look it up, that purchase order. I could type in the purchase order here, right? I have a lookup, I have that purchase order available here. I could also type it in, but obviously what I'd like to do to validate and be accurate of what I'm receiving is actually scan that purchase order. And you'll see the blue focus field drop down to the item level, which means it's validated in real time against SAP Business One, right? Taking me to the item level and allowing me to continue on in a sequential format into this form. I can't skip around. I can't jump around and complete different areas and come back. I have to follow through the form process to get me to the final stages here. Now, if I were to make a mistake, if I clear this out and I actually scan a purchase order that's not open or the wrong, maybe I scan a UPC code here, it gives me a haptic feedback. My device, again, utilizing the data device, the actions, it's going to give me a vibration feedback, and it's giving me error saying, Aaron, that's not a correct order to receive against. So I have to go back and accurately scan the correct item, and I'll do that right now. And that'll drop us to our item code. And again, I can do a lookup by hitting the 3 buttons on the right here. Remember, on that purchase order, I had 3 items that we're receiving against. Again, I want to use scanning here. So I'm going to actually scan that first item, and it's going to validate it that that's an available item to receive. Now, I have some defaults set in Wisys, and if you have a binned warehouse, and we are encouraging binned warehouses, but Wisys works with a binned or non-binned warehouse, but it actually has a default warehouse that I'm going to receive these products from my truck onto my dock. I also have the number of items remaining. Now, this can be based on your unit of measure. I'm doing eaches today, or a manual unit of measure, but in SAP, if you had units of measures set with barcodes, I could receive that unit of measure based on the barcode supplied with your supplier. Now, some suppliers don't give you barcodes, and we're going to show you in a minute how that's created. But in the first step here, I'm going to receive all 600 of these items, the first item, and I'm going to hit the trigger key to return. It will then return me back up to the item level, and I can then scan the second item, which is our AIM toothpaste, right? And I can see the description to validate that. I can see the vendor. Again, we're going to receive 1,200. Now, Aaron, you're telling me I'm receiving all these at once. I don't have to. I can take a break. I could have a laboratory break. I could take a lunch. I could go home for the day. I could work on another PO maybe from the same truck if it's on different pallets, right? I'm receiving this product in my timely manner. I can come back to it. We preload all the information so it's stored, and then I can revisit that when necessary. So I don't have to complete everything at once, but I do have to, receive these items. And as I'm receiving the last item, again, this manual, this unit of measure is manual, but we handle all units of measure. And I'm going to receive all 1,000 of these today. Now it takes me back up to my item list, and if I hit the 3 buttons here, you'll notice that I don't have any open inventory available, right? So I've received against this purchase order. Now here's where the magic happens. This is where Wisys, in a digital warehouse, in a digitized warehouse where we're leaving paper-based, where we're doing new things, we're doing what's called a composite transaction. I am going to hit this post button, and I'm going to show you some of the innovations we've added in the last few years, but I'm going to hit this post button, and it's going to do multiple things in Wisys and in SAP Business One. First thing it's asking me is if I'd like to take a picture. Having this Android device, taking advantage of a camera, if your Android device has a camera on it, I can now take pictures of items on that purchase order, right? So the first item I have was the barkeeper's friend, and I'm actually going to take another picture here of the toothpaste. Now, if these were cases or cartons or actually a whole pallet, which I'm going to take a picture of the pallet here, I could take a picture of a pallet of items here. I can actually take a picture with my camera and store that in SAP. So that's one action with a composite transaction that Wisys do. I'm going to show you the next few. You can even require that the receiver or someone signs on this purchase order. So I'm just going to say I am signing that I received it. Maybe it's my QA process that Aaron has received the product and signed off on it, that it's not damaged. That is another step in a composite transaction. Another thing that's fabulous with Wisys that tends to get a lot of use is that we are going to create labels for our product. And I've done this very simply, and I'm just in sales. I'm not a designer, but I can pull any information from SAP into a label that's with our label design software to build labels and print labels at time of receipt. So now I have labels in UPCs to travel with me throughout the entire process all the way out to shipping. So I can achieve that validation and accuracy by scanning barcodes for items that do not come from your vendor with barcodes on it. If I want to create my own standard, I could do that. If I want to add my own labels or my own logo to this, I can. If I want to add batch tracked serialized information, I can add that all to a label. Because Wisys barcode label software is integrated with SAP, any data in SAP information can be pulled there. That is another component to the composite transaction. What the next thing that it's also done, if I go into SAP, I want to really show you that relationship to what's happened. If I refresh that purchase order here, you'll notice that it's automatically closed the purchase order, and in the relationship map here, it's created the goods receipt PO for that product that we received against in real time as we're doing it on the dock floor. As that person is physically touching it, we've taken advantage of the camera and the signature capture to be able to achieve our goals in that portion of the process of the warehouse. So I have that goods receipt PO, and under attachments here, I have those pictures that we took, right? So it's stored in a shared drive, a shared folder, and it's saved the pictures to the SAP goods receipt PO. Even that signature that we have as well has been stored within that too. So now I have proof to my vendors, my customers, that I've received the product as intended, not damaged. And if it is damaged, I can fight against that, right? I have proof, I have information, good data that leads me to that, all with a digitized handheld device in the warehouse. Okay, so that's just one portion of it. And that process of taking pictures and signature capture is a tailored application. It's not in our standard form because most people have a different area where that's where they want to kind of do it. They don't really necessarily want to do it at receiving. I'm showing you at receiving so you understand that through any process in Wisys, through any form, adding the picture, signature, and geolocation capture with the new Android application can be achieved on each one of those applications that you wish to do it on. And what that means is we're taking advantage of our design tools. And I told you guys at the beginning, that's our secret sauce. This is a desktop application that, I showed you that receiving process. And I know many of you out there, you guys may not do the same thing, right? You may not do the same operation as somebody else. Our design tools is the tool set that we deliver with our product to allow our consultants, our partners, to be able to modify the solution and change it and add those things in a composite transaction that match your process flow, right? Obviously, learning the out-of-the-box product and getting used to the product before making these changes is very important, but I just wanted to show you our design tools, and actually that goods receipt PO that we just accomplished here is in its editing mode here on the design tools. And some people say, hey, Aaron, we don't know the PO first, but I do know the item. I can simply move and change the item order of this form to match my process needs. You see, I have batch tracked information. If the product is batch tracked within SAP, it will be realized in a handheld, but maybe there's more information that your company requires in a form field. I may have to put something on hold. I may have a different color. I have information that I want to achieve on the handheld. I can do that in our design studio. And remember, I was, again, talking about that compound transaction. That button that I had, that post button, actually has 6 actions defined with it. And we can, with SQL scripts, SQL events, validations that we can add different things to that single button to make ourselves more efficient, faster, and better at what we do. So the design tools are very important, but understanding that the out-of-the-box solution is where everybody should get started, where they need to learn the product and understand the capabilities, and then be available to making modifications or tailoring the product further. All right. So that's one of the innovations. Those are some of the innovations that we've been talking about before, and adding technology to the warehouse. What I'd also like to show that's very popular is our agility shipping product, and we can talk about picking and packing, and everybody does it differently, right? There's 50, 60 different ways to do things. I really want to show the integration of agility shipping into our product. And our agility shipping desktop is actually can be run on a handheld device. So you can pick, pack, and ship from a handheld. But typically in the SAP B1 world, most people use a packing station, right? And they want to take their orders. So I'm going to actually go into a sales order here so we can follow along the process. And we're going to close out our purchase order that we were working on. And we're going to go to a sales order here, and we're going to follow that process. Now, I know you guys may use the SAP Pick and Pack Production Manager, which is a very efficient way to release pick lists. You may just right-click on a sales order and create a pick list, or you pick from a sales order. I have already set my criteria of my release of my sales order here, and I've already given it a pick list. I've generated the pick list, and what we're going to do is we're going to pick that on the handheld, and then we're going to bring that over to our agility shipping station where we have the ability to do LTL truckload as well as agility shipping module. So, and it's very impressive because it's integrated. So let's actually take this sales order, 1358, and let's take a look at the pick list. Now, in releasing the pick list in SAP, I've delivered this pick list to the handheld by user, and I can have a group of users. I could pick multiple orders. I could pick a single order. In this case, I've assigned a single order to a single picker to make it easier for us to follow along today. So I've released this pick list, and I've assigned this pick list 124 to Jason. And those 3 items are allocated and released to be picked. And what we're going to do is we're going to do a directed pick and stage this product over in that shipping and packing area. So let's go to our handheld device. Now, I could still print out paperwork. If I want to make an easy transition and making it less impactful, this digital warehouse, and keeping some of the things, I can still deliver a packing list or a pick list to my employee. I could put a barcode on that pick list. I could also let him go paperless and allow him to do a directed pick right from the handheld device. So I'm going to find my directed picking sales order picking app. I'm going to go into it. And just like the other forms, we're going to follow along in the process, right? Now I can look up that pick list number. I could type it in, or I could scan a barcode associated with that. But remember, we had pick list 124 here that we're going to take. Actually, yep, 124. It's going to now direct me where to go to pick these 3 items. In this case, you can do just a sales order picking that's not directed. I like to show directed picking because it shows me a nice workflow through the process, through the warehouse, again, using technology to help me better navigate my warehouse in an efficient way. I don't want you guys taking 20,000 steps before 9 a.m. I want to direct you through a proper path in the warehouse to pick your items to be picked and packed and shipped, right? So I've put that pick list number in there, and if I clear this out, again, I'm going to scan 124 here, and it's going to bring up my order, my first item, and it's actually telling me what bin to go to. So it's taking the business decision away from myself, the worker, and telling me what to do. Again, we have the option to open this up and allow you to do what you want. This is standard directed picking out of the box. If I were to clear this out and I were to scan the wrong pick list number, again, I'm getting a haptic feedback. I can't continue. I'm not going to be able to make errors. I am doing things using technology to validate I'm picking properly. So we're going to actually scan the correct pick list here, 124, and it's telling me where to go. And you'll notice here under the item, it doesn't give me the option to select the item. It doesn't give me allowed to look up because I'm being directed where to pick it. So I'm actually going to go to that bin. I'm going to scan the item. I'm going to scan the bin, and I'm going to say I'm picking 4 of those. And I'm going to save that. Now it's directing me to the next item in the order of my bin setup in my SAP, and it's telling me the most efficient bin to go grab the next item at. And it's telling me to go get the AIM Tartar Control Mint Gel case, and I'm going to go scan that item. I'm going to scan that bin, and I'm going to grab 2 of these. Now, again, remember I was talking about the picture and signature capture. If I'm picking I could require a picture at this point if I wanted to add that to this form. I can modify that form to do a lot of different things. But what I've done is now I got to grab, sorry, we have a third and last item here it's telling me to get. I'm going to grab that item. I'm going to grab it from the next bin it's telling me to get that at, and I'm going to grab one of these here. And you'll see at the completion of picking that pick list, it has saved everything with a composite transaction, and it said, this pick list is fully picked. So there's no more work for me to be done. If I take a look at that pick list in SAP, and I'm going to view the pick list, you'll see that that pick list has been picked. All done there, right? I don't need to pick it. What I've also done in that transaction is I've staged that product. I've moved the product during that pick over to my staging area. This is where the packing station comes into play. I'm going to do a new shipment now because I want to ship this item out using our Agility shipping product, and I want to build a shipment. So, I have 3 different items here. 3 different boxes could be used, 3 different cartons. In Wisys, you have the availability to add cartons for each box, for each item. In this case, I'm going to build 3 cartons for 3 different items for this order. If you're using pallet management, which will be in a follow-up webinar coming shortly, we're going to do a whole webinar on pallet management, but you can add pallets to a shipment as well. But we're doing small package shipping, so we're going to do 3 boxes for this order, and we're going to do those 3 items. So we're going to add a carton. And you'll see here on the right, I have a shipment number. This is a unique Wisys ID for the shipment, which will help us create this complex shipment for Agility shipping here. So I grab the carton, and I have different carton sizes in Wisys. I'm going to grab that first item. And remember, we have the order number there, that 1358. I'm going to scan the order associated with it. I'm going to scan that first item. And it's staged at the bin location, right? So I'm picking it right from the bin area where I'm at, and I'm going to put 4 in a box very easily. Now I could add those items to the same carton if it fits, but in this case, we want to show we're going to add another carton. We're going to have 3 unique boxes, and we're going to add an item to that box, right? And we have order 1358 still. The second item is our case of toothpaste. I'm going to add 2 there and click OK. Now you'll see at the bottom here, I have information that was helpful in the packing of the shipment. If I don't have labels printed, I can also see what's left to be packed. If there's serialized items, which are not in here, serial batch tracked items, it will identify all that information in this menu down below. It will give me my package information as I'm building packages, my weights, my measures, all pulled from SAP's Item Master associated with these items. So let's go back. So we have our second box with our items in there, and we're going to do our third box, which is going to be our bartender's keeper here for the last item. We're going to add that item. Again, it knows the same order number, and I could have multiple orders under a shipment. So if I want to create an LTL truckload shipment, I can do that. But let's scan that third item. Third item, we got at the bin, and there was only 1 for this quantity here on that. So I've created a complete small package shipment for my customer based on this order. We can have a whole nother webinar based on LTL truckload shipments, building complex shipments with pallets. I'm showing you the power of Agility shipping today and the newest innovation of Wisys. So if you see here on the right-hand side, you see that the sales order is associated with UPS Ground. My UPS Ground application has now become available and clickable. It's the classic orange and brown here for UPS. Now I always have LTL truckload to be able to do a straight delivery now, but this is where our integration into UPS, FedEx, and USPS happens. So I'm actually going to click on the UPS icon here. This is going to bring up our Agility shipping screen, which is an addition to our fulfillment manager. And you see here that I have 3 separate packages with 3 different weights. And if I had lengths, widths, heights built into my item masters, I would see that here as well. I can even get the weight of my items by actually weighing each individual box. I can hit F5 with an integrated scale, adding more technology with a USB scale to our workstation here, right? I do have the availability to do international shipping. That's new as of 2023. We also have the ability to do third-party shipping, drop shipping, all those integrations in there as well. I even have the availability to modify my service type under UPS. Now, it's required us to use UPS because that's what the sales order has, but I can modify which actual service I use. So in this case, I'm going to use ground, and I'm going to make sure that my to and from address are correct, which is pulled from the sales order. These can have multiple different accounts within SAP. Again, this is pulling information from SAP. I can use third-party shipping accounts as well. But the true benefit here is the compound transaction. We are going to reach out to the API of UPS, but again, we're going to do multiple things with a single click, making our lives much better, much more efficient, much faster, and more accurate. So we're going to hit the ship button. And what that's going to do, it's going to go out to UPS API, connect to it. It's going to generate the documents required. Now, with Wisys documents, you can have packing list printed. You could have instruction manuals. You could have MSDS sheets. You could have FDA regulation sheets required. In this case, it first printed out 3 unique boxes or labels for my 3 packages. That tracking information and everything here, these are the UPS labels that were built by UPS, specific for UPS. I can now attach these labels, affix them to the box. I can also print out a packing list, a bill of lading. I'm going to pull that shipment back up here real quick. That shipment would automatically print out a packing list for me that I could pop in that box, or any other documents that I require from that shipment as well, even a bill of lading if that's what we want to include there. What that's done is that is now effectively shipped from a non-ship status to a ship status using Agility Shipping. And if we take a look, again, going back to SAP, we could take a look at that sales order, and we can now see that that sales order is now closed, doing a relationship map there. It's going to show that with that button, I've also created that delivery note. The delivery note's been created in real time, so now this can be copied to an invoice. And also under the logistics tab, now I have tracking information populated back into the delivery note. Now I can set up an automated email to have that customer receive their tracking information, but this is a seamless integration with UPS, FedEx, or USPS into Wisys, taking advantage of our picking and packing methods, creating packages and boxes, and seamlessly integrating all that technology into one third-party application called Wisys. All right. So I've shown you our Agility Shipping. It's really become a fabulous product. It really has met the needs of our customers. We are adding to our product all the time. We are releasing enhancements based on our partners' requests, our customers' demands, and this product was always growing and developing as we go forward. All right, let's head back to our PowerPoint real quick. Actually, I think close that out here. All right. So I wanted to really show you the differences in some of the innovation that Wisys has made. We've done a lot of additions to our product. We've added the Android technology. We have added Agility Shipping for further integration into SAP. We're showing the different applications and the different devices that are available for Wisys. I am here to help you. We do have partners to help you. I have one last poll I'd like to send you guys, and I'd just like to see what your guys' thoughts are. I want to launch a quick poll, and I really want to ask you, why are you here today? What's brought you to Wisys? Why have you paid attention for the last 45 minutes? I'd like to get your feedback and then share that. All right. I'd like to thank you all for joining today. And my phone is always open for you to discuss and go deeper into each one of these technologies that we're talking about to discover more important things to you, to find the best fit whether it comes to hardware, software, solutions to help you be better in the warehouse, to see a good return on investment. I'm opening the floor up to any questions if anybody wants to talk and ask questions about Wisys or any of the hardware you've seen today or any of our recent innovations or future innovations. You will be receiving our roadmap for 2024 as well for our future releases coming out. Any questions? Go ahead. I think Chase is hanging out with me today, and you guys probably know Chase from some of our calls and our enablements from our partners. But Chase, we got any questions? Anything out there?
Hi, Aaron. No, it looks like a lot of our questions have been answered here in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, I think for the most part, I mean, that was a really thorough run through. So I think you answered just about everything that we've had.
Yeah, I just wanted everybody to get a glimpse of some of the things we've been working on and the ways we're helping people come into the 21st century and kind of take the next step. What I'd like to really say is also to really just kind of be open to suggestion is that you don't have to change the world at once. You can take small portions of Wisys and just do some receiving and just do some inventory counting. You don't need to implement a total solution. The 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 benefit of being integrated into SAP Business One is that you can take pieces of Wisys and slowly adapt. I talk about the digitizing the warehouse and becoming transforming, and transforming really is changing. But I know how difficult it is for people to change, and I'm going to close this out. I know how difficult it is for people to change, and I welcome small change, right? I want to make sure that you guys are not eating more than you could chew or biting more than you could chew. We can really help you achieve change in the warehouse in a phased approach, in a taking small, low-hanging fruit, and really helping you succeed through that. So I appreciate your time. I want to recommend that I'm going to pass along our blog, our success stories. We've had some recent new success stories in South America as well. We've been having some success there as well. So take a look at our YouTube. I will pass all that information along in a follow-up email. I'm going to give you some resources for our prerequisites and some of the hardware you've seen today. So I appreciate it, guys. Thank you for joining, and please reach out if you have any questions. Thank you.